Hello everyone, my name's Debbie. I'm Mum Bear Stitcher here on Flosstube and over on Instagram, and this is my little channel all about cross stitch. Today is episode number 63 and it's all about the cross stitching that I've managed to do in June, as well as some tentative plans for July. So June started off busy, as the end of school year does. Maya, my oldest, graduated middle school. I'll pop some pictures in here of her graduation. So she is off to high school, which is crazy, after the summer holidays. And speaking of summer holidays, we are in full swing. We've been going to like the local pool, which we haven't been to in the entire 10 years that we've been here, but we've signed up for a summer pass this year. We've seen the movies. Highly recommend How to Train Your Dragon. That was really good. And yeah, just kind of chilling out for the summer. It's been great so far. Apart from it is scorchingly hot, like most people in the US right now. We have a bit of a heat wave. It's 90 degrees today, so I'm melting. So I'm trying to get through this before the aircon kicks in, because it's pretty loud. So let's just start with a finish. I said in my last video I was going to do a summer of smalls, which included starting a bunch of small things, small kits, small charts that were in my stash that I could take to all the things that we're doing during summer. Like, we've been to cooking classes this week at Stirla Table. Maya did advanced baking, so I spent like 15 hours there waiting on her all week. Elena's at gymnastics. We're still doing karate, so it's just been handy to have little projects to throw in my bag while I'm sitting waiting on my kids in the car. So the first one I actually managed to finish because of that is this little Mill Hill turtle kit. I've had this one for ages, but I love the color of those beads on there. He isn't fully finished yet. I need to take him to Michael's and color match some felt to fully finish him. But he is super cute, and I can't wait to have him on the tree this year. The next one that I've popped in its place in the bag is a little sea otter. So he'll be fully finished soon enough. The next one turned out not to be so small, but I did finish it. This one is The Night Before Christmas by Hello from Liz Mathews. I bought this one as a PDF at the Jingle Ball, I think this last year. But yeah, this was a lot of stitches, and the stitch count was actually 138 by 154. And it's over 300 stitches like per line in this, so it was a lot of stitching, but it was nice to just do it all in one color, which is Weeks Dye Works Red Pear, and it's on 36 count linen in the color Bramble by Picture This Plus. And I stitched this one 1/2. I kind of wanted the sort of vintage Christmas feel in this one, so I can't wait to put this one maybe in like a nice dark brown frame. But this was a little head start on Christmas in July plans. But yeah, glad to get that one done. I print out like a ton of these PDFs, or like you buy them and then you sort of forget them. They go into your stash and you just forget about them. So I'm trying to work through them. Stash down, stash down. So that was that one. And that was my only other summer of small so far, but I am going to continue on with that. I do have a couple more projects just thrown in my bag, and some Christmas ornaments and that kind of thing like picked out for Christmas in July, so you will see those next month. Up next, this one was a little bit of a failure. This is Koalas by Country Threads. I was all optimistic last month. I was telling you I was gonna work on this one until it was finished. That didn't happen. I barely worked on it at all. So you'll see where I was before. And I just could not get into this one at all. I barely put any stitches in. In fact, you can see I actually stopped halfway through stitching and just put the needle in the fabric. I was filling in the koala, lots of grays, and then started filling in this branch and stuff like that. And I was all optimistic, telling you, oh, maybe if I like work really hard on this one, I could finish it. Nope. I don't know what was happening with this one, but it just felt like such a struggle bus. So yeah, but you'll see what happened in its place. every time I picked this one up though, I was just distracted by my phone, by like watching something. I don't know if it was just all the shades are pretty similar and maybe it's just not its turn just yet. But this one is on 32 count Lugana in the color Earth by Stitch Me, which is why I'm not going to stitch the background sky because this has got beautiful pale blue fabric. So this one was a bit of a failure. Its moment will come. It just wasn't this month. Instead, I did finish, well, you'll see where I was before. This is Dino Garden by Buena Pieza. And last time you saw this one, it was at 70.64%. It had around 3,500 stitches left on it for me to be able to finish it, and I did. So here is my little dinosaur finish. Oh, he matches my shirt today. You see, I have dinosaur shirt on. There's a little T-Rex there. It's my favorite shirt. So yeah, this is my dinosaur garden. This one took way longer than you would think to stitch. All those tiny little color changes, starting and stopping threads. Oh, but it's so cute. So this month I basically had some of the terrestrial section left, finishing all of the aquatic section, but I got all that done. It's just so bright and fun, and these colors just pop on this fabric, which is a mystery 32 count Lugana from Stitch Me. It's one of those no-name Friday night fight situations, but maybe this could be my cover picture for the video. Yay! So yeah, I'm glad to get that one done, and that was another project off my year of whips list because I am way behind on that. Given that we're halfway through the year, I think this is my 4th finish out of like the 14 that I declared that I was going to finish, so I need to get moving on that. But that one's stitched all in DMC, and I will link the shops and everything else below that I can. Okay, the next one I work on every single month, and this is Artemis by Carolyn. And which way up does this go now? So last time you saw this one, it was at 60.89%. And this one I'm working on every month to get it finished this year, and I'm trying to put in around 1,410 stitches to be able to finish it by the end of the year. And so this one is on a 32 count Lugana in the color Silver Moon. It's one of my favorite neutral Luganas. I'm much more drawn to like the grayer tones than like the brown tone neutrals, so I use this one quite a lot. So yeah, this one is now at 67.35%. I'm stitching it with all the call for DMC, and we are well on track to be finished by the end of the year. So yeah, turned that corner. I think I'm going to work on filling in this side and then work over to the other corner. But on track, and this one will be worked on in July to get stitches in. Okay, the next one was a new start. This one I started with my friend Sherry, Share Bear Stitchers. She's doing hers all in beautiful silks. But this is Ode to Libraries by Heartstring Samplery. This was a market release recently. So I've just got a tiny start on this one. But I've started on the quote mostly in the middle and the flower down the bottom. I'm using a paper pattern, so I don't know what the percentage is of this one, but this one is a bit slow going because it's on 36 count Use Ear by Seraphim. Fantastic fabric. This one's a bit slow going because I've picked a whole bunch of like stash floss. I'm trying to use up stash, and you get all these threads in like boxes, or you buy just single skeins of stuff and they just sit in stash because it's such a task to, I think, to convert something, especially like a lot of colors, and I think that's why I avoid it, but I'm trying to get better. So these are I've just picked a bunch of stash colors, and some are different to the cover image. They're a bit brighter. This is the one that I'm doing the writing in, which is Plum Violet by Colouring Cotton. But it's just a whole bunch of like nice bright threads that I'm dropping everywhere, and hopefully just use some stash up. But they're beautiful colours. And it's everything from limited edition, like say Colouring Cotton that I got in a Frogwarts box, Weeks Dye Works, stitchy stuff, everything is in there. So hopefully this one will get some more work very soon and not just go into the whip tips, but that's where I am so far. I think I will probably finish up the rest of the quote, because then it opens up like all the flowers around it and it gives me options on areas to work on if I finish the whole quote first. So that's that one. The next one only got a little bit of stitches, a couple of hundred actually. This project, Christmas in the Woods, the stocking by Stoney Creek. This one I was working on for the Giro d'Italia challenge, where it's a bike race and every day you would stitch the equivalent stitches to what the rider, like the miles that the rider rode that day. So I did that for all of May, and there was only a couple of days into June that this one finished up on. So you'll see where I was before, but this one I think only got 300 or 400 since then. And I'm working down to the toe, and then I'll come back up and do like above the deer, like all the forest bit above the deer. But that is where I am. And this one I think I'm going to work on in July, or work out how I'm going to work on this one. The Tour de France, again another bike challenge where you stitch the amount that the rider does each day. I think I'm going to do this one because I would love to get this one finished this year. This was meant to be a stocking for Maya, but she has since picked out another one that you will see in haul, so I think this is going to be Pieza stocking now. But yeah, I think this will get a couple of thousand stitches in July if I do the Tour de France challenge. There is a slight problem in that I have Frogwarts, which is a virtual retreat with Black Needle Society. I'll talk about that more in a minute because that's coming up. Where there's a few days where I wouldn't be able to stitch on this one. So I'm either going to stitch the couple of days, because it starts the 5th to the 27th of July. So the couple of days where the Frogwarts retreat would be, I'm either going to do them at the beginning of the month, or I'm going to play catch up after Frogwarts. But so either way, you will see this one next month, because I would love to get this one finished this year. And a couple of thousand stitches will really push this one along, because I think I'm going to work down to the toe and then do the back stitch back on myself, like up to the deer, and then cross stitch like almost like the leg part of the stocking, so that we'll be closer to being done. But I love this one. Love, love, love. And that one's on a 32 count. I think it's Mushroom Lugana. Yeah, I wrote down Mushroom Lugana from Zweigart. I think it's called for. Okay, this next one I think will be a finish in July. This is Stained Glass Sampler by Carolyn Manning, and you'll see where I was before. This one I was working on for another community stitcher challenge. Andrew the runner stitcher, he is doing the Whip into Shape challenge, where you stitch 10 stitches for every mile that he is running in training for a marathon. So I've been working on this one quite a lot, and the end is in sight, I think. So this one I'm really going to push for a July finish, and then for Andrew's training I'll probably pop in a different project. But because I've been working on this one, you will see I am so close. Like, I can see the finish line on this one. So I have been putting, right now I'm doing, like, I fill in a color and then I do 2 strands of outline, like in the black. So I'm kind of prepping this one too for Frogwarts, which is a virtual retreat that includes lots of competitive stitching challenges. So if I set this one up with a lot of outline, just being able to like color this one in during like the stitching challenges will be very handy. But I can definitely see this one being a finish in July. And this will be another Year of Whips challenge project like off my list. I definitely want to get this one finished this year. I have the Autumn Glass one in stash ready to go after I finish this one, so can't wait to finish this one. And this one is on a 16 count Midnight Grey Ada that I picked up from 1 to 3 Stitch. But so close, so close. Can't wait to get this one back on the Q-snap. I might take this one to gymnastics today. It's a really good one to sit and just black stitch the outline. This next one, speaking of Frogwarts, so Frogwarts is a virtual retreat that the Black Needle Society put on. It's kind of like Harry Potter based. They send you a box of goodies, like full of stuff, and then there's like 4-day retreat, and it's full of competitive stitching challenges, Zoom chats with people. It's just a really fun weekend. And if it's something you sound like you'd be interested in, really sign up for people's newsletters and things like that, because that's where you find out all the information and release dates and all that kind of thing. So highly recommend doing that. But Frogwarts, one of the big point scoring activities is stitching what they call the band sampler within the 2 weeks before the retreat and during the retreat. So yesterday we had a Zoom chat and everyone was on. You get your the password that you have to put on your fabric to be able to start the piece. And I stayed up way too late stitching. I think I was up to about 3 o'clock this morning watching Clarkson's Farm until about 3 in the morning. And then I had to make myself go to bed because I just wanted to keep on stitching on this one because it's a lot of stitches. So you'll see the picture in here anyway. It's about 12,500 stitches that you have to do within 13 days, which is kind of crazy, but that's what makes it a challenge. So here is where I am. I am at 12.51%-ish. The quote at the bottom is over 1, and so markup doesn't really count that properly. It's about 500 stitches less overall it thinks it is. So I say 12.51%-ish. And mine is on a 32 count Lugana in the colour Sea Spray from Seraphim. It's like an aqua colour with little browny green patches. But I'm happy with my progress so far. There's a long way to go. But on track to finish and earn my team 100 points if I get this one finished. I definitely will get it finished. But this is going to be my main focus for the next 2 weeks essentially. So yeah, working on stained glass might be a good palette cleanser when I'm kind of done with that one for like a little bit. But that's where I am so far. Next one, last project that I've worked on this month. So this one is Mini Wonder by, artwork is by Maggie Vanderwall, and it is charted by UnconventionalXStitch. Again, this one I'm going to do 200 stitches a day and finish this one by Christmas. Well, I'm going to have to pick up the pace because I fell behind on that, but I did finish the first page. So it is super pale colors, but I was at 2.14% and I'm now at 9.48. And this is 25 count 1/1 full cross. And I was thinking while stitching all these pale colors, which was not fun, why didn't I put this on hand-dyed fabric and just stitch the mouse in the ornament? Should have known better. But it is what it is. I'm gonna finish it now. So I'm gonna do this page next, which at least I get the start of the little bow and the bell, or like the ribbon and the start of the bell, I think. And it's only 3 pages wide. It will fit in the entire width of the little nerd tube. So that's where I am. I still want to finish it by Christmas, just need to pick up the pace. Okay, when I haven't been cross stitching because my wrists have kind of been playing up a little bit, like just wrist pain. I think it's the way I hold like my Q-snap, so I've been having a little break from stitching sometimes. And I'm a baby learning to crochet person, newbie crocheter. And so I have been doing blankets and I thought they're just taking forever. So I watched this person called Passionate Kelsey on YouTube, and she started this top. So this is gonna be my first wearable that I'm so proud of so far. It's by Drama Crochet. I'll pop a picture in here of the person who, like, whose video it's from. But I saw Passionate Kelsey made this in one of her recent videos, and I was like, I could do that. So yeah, here's my top so far. I am so proud of this. So California doesn't get really, so this is a sleeve. So this is the start of a baby sleeve right here. And you just go round and round and round and it gets bigger. So California doesn't get really cold like at nighttime, like after winter. So this will be perfect to throw on like into fall, like over a t-shirt. Yeah, start with a little sleeve and you just go round and round until it gets bigger, and then you crochet like along the top and it joins all up somehow like magic. Love the colors. I'm just doing one color changing yarn ball. It's this one. It's called Freshly Baked Bread, and it's a Karen Painterly cake. So I'm about to tie on the second skein of yarn and get going with that. But I'll link that below if that's something you're interested in. Like I love learning new hobbies. I love watching other people show other hobbies out with like cross stitch, like in their videos. And I keep it in this little Trader Joe's bag. Thank you, Sherry. She sent me a bunch of these from her son Anthony, and they are the most amazing crochet project bags. So that's that. I'm going to keep working on that, and hopefully by the time I see you next, I will have my first finished wearable. And so I also picked up some other new yarn in cotton, because apparently that's what you use for making clothes stuff. And it's Tom Daly's Made with Love cotton. They had to St. Michael's in a whole bunch of like colors. So I picked up 2 of the olive. So I need some more because apparently this isn't enough to really make anything. So I'll probably pick up some more of this, but I absolutely love this color. And I can imagine like a little top like that for the fall in this color. So that's that. On to some other things that are just arrived in the mail. The next is the new stitch long from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. It is the Ghostly Gathering stitch long, and this one kicks off on the 17th of July, and it is a 4-part release. So it's the 17th of July, 12th of August, 9th of September and 9th of October. So realistically you could start this and finish this before Halloween this year. So there's some pictures in here of the sneak peeks and what the kit options kind of look like. They did send me the sort of basic kit version of this one. Where is the needle minder? Oh, it's in here. So that is like my favorite. I think this might be my favorite needle minder that they've released so far. So this is the needle minder. Look at that amazing little cauldron. And I don't normally love enamel needle minders because they're quite heavy, but I feel like the Caterpillar Cross Stitch ones are super light and they hold your needle really well. Some enamel ones, I feel like they almost like repel the needle a little bit, but I absolutely love this needle minder. It might be my favorite one yet. So that's that. The kit comes in a nice handy dandy little envelope. Pre-sorted DMC, which I love these thread holders, so you can put your little spare threads in the little holes adjacent to the DMC. I love that. It's so handy when you throw it into your project bag to just be able to pull these out. And the fabric is a 28 count Permin fabric. It says even weave, but this feels and looks like linen. There is Ada options. I think it's a 16 and 18 count Ada as well, but just bear that in mind if you go for the, well, what's called the even weave option. This looks like linen. It feels like linen, but it's a beautiful purple color, and those colors on there, those look amazing. You'll see, I'll put up on the screen on one of the pictures, if you use the code GGSAL10 Debbie at checkout on the kit, one of the kit options, there's 3 different tiers, you can get 10% off your order until the 24th of July. So you have plenty of time. But go over and have a look at that. I'll link that in the little box below, and hopefully I'll be starting that too on the 17th of July when we get the first part. I can't believe, like, I'm so excited for Halloween stitching. It's probably my like favorite theme like of the year, so I can't wait to see what that looks like. So let me put that safely down there so I don't lose all the bits. Speaking of things being lost, this was the needle minder that I lost last week, that last month, that I couldn't show you. It's actually stuck to the ironing board that you're sitting on, and I only just found it when I pulled the ironing board out. It was stuck to the leg. So it's the tarot card by Ginger Stitch AU, and it says the Stitcher. Speaking of, this was the stocking that I've now got from Maya. It's the Gingerbread Mice by Cooler Designs, and I'll pop a picture in here because their cover image is shockingly bad. Look at this. It is not great. So I'll pop a picture in here, and to start this one I got a 32 count Opal Lugana, just in white but super sparkly. I'm going to stitch that one all in DMC. But that's way more fitting for her. Like, she loves baking. She really wants to go to culinary school and specialize in baking, I think, right now. She really loved, if you have kids who love baking, I highly recommend Surly Tables, summer teen baking classes or cooking classes, whatever it is. She was there all week. It was 2 hours a day, and she made amazing cakes and croissants and a whole bunch of goodies. So that's really cemented to her, that's what she wants to do. So highly recommend. But yeah, gingerbread mice cooking is much more fitting to her. The last couple of things that I actually got a whole bunch of fabric from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie, because I'm in the Fabric of the Month club, but I'd also made an order weeks and weeks ago. So we'll start with my Fabric of the Months, which is through Garon Stitchery. So this first one is called, is this Briar Rose? No. Oh, Daybreak. This one's Daybreak. I took them out the packaging. So this is Daybreak. This was one of my fabrics of the month, and I get the 32 count Lugana. Oh, it's beautiful. So that's the first one. And then this month's just arrived the other day. This one is Briar Rose, again 32 count Lugana, and it's a beautiful peachy color, and I'm seriously considering using this one. I've been watching is it Jessica Doise, JedX Stitch, who is going to be at the Midsummer Stitch through Lindy Stitches, another virtual weekend retreat. Her design is kind of like on a peach color, and I couldn't get the call for of what she's been doing hers on, but it is similar to this one, so I actually think I might save this one for that when that design comes out, which I still need to buy my ticket for. Lots of virtual retreats this year. The last 2 pieces of fabric were the order that I made from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. The first one is called Banshee, again 32 count Lugana. Look at that color. That's exactly what it looks like. I think she does amazing like mixtured colored fabrics. So yeah, love that one. And this one is a 32 count linen in the color Kaleidoscope. So that's that. Beautiful. And the very last thing that I bought came yesterday, and it is a kit by RTO called Quiet Bay. Oh, love that. Looks very European. We're looking at, or the idea is coming up that at some point we'd move back to Europe, maybe like Italy, Croatia, that kind of area of Europe. We lived in Scotland before. Piotr doesn't want to go back to the rainy weather. He's like, I can't do it anymore. And I was like, oh, I'd love to live in the Highlands. And he's like, no, you don't like being cold. He's like, especially after living in California, there's no way I'd survive in the Highlands of Scotland. So yeah, maybe stitch it into reality. So yeah, this is Quiet Bay. But this is very much the future vibe that we're going for. So that is that. And so this might be a start at some point. That's all I have this month. Hopefully you come back and see at the end of July. And I'll hopefully have lots of stitching and maybe a couple of finishes. But until then, I hope you're staying out of the heat if you're experiencing this heat wave that we're having. And I hope you have a really good month. Until then, bye-bye.